I'm Prasanta Sahu, practicing artist and pedagogue based in Shantiniketan. I'm having my solo with Emami art. It's the geometry of ordinary lives. In this show, I have tried to connect with different phases of my life, my exposure to different things. I would like to start this walkthrough with this painting. The title of this one is Elements I Forgot While Doing the Plan for a Solar Run. So this is connected with my engineering studies. Prior to my studies in fine arts, I have done my electrical engineering, like 3 years I spent doing diploma in electrical engineering, and right after that I was doing, I have done prior to coming to like fine arts, I have done a lot of architectural plans, elevations, technical drawings and all. I'm quite familiar with the drawings, technical drawings and all, and but I was thinking, like, what if I combine both the elements, like that technical drawing language of that architectural drawing and my familiarity with like drawings, sketches in fine arts. So I have tried to combine. This particular painting is about like the plan of a proposed solar lamp in some particular suburb, and like activities related to a street lamp. So some tea stalls are there, some vegetable vendors are there, and like people gathering of people in under that lamp. So it's about that. So the way I conceived this exhibition, the geometry of ordinary lives, is about like ordinary visuals, ordinary things which I encounter in my daily life, and I try to examine all these frames, ordinary frames, from a different perspective. Like in the series of this set of canvases, I have tried with the association of human and objects. We are in our daily life, we are associated with a lot of objects, and there is a close association of humans and objects. But the moment I examine one particular object, whether it's a table or chair or any sort of object, for me objects are like coded knowledge, coded information. It's coming through a kind of evolutionary process. Just design of any sort of object, whether it's a piece of chair or table or like maybe plate or spoon, whatever, it is coming through a kind of long evolutionary process. It has been gone through a kind of evolutionary process. Every century, when I visit a museum, maybe like when I look at artifacts or when I look at objects from maybe 7th, 8th, 10th century in a museum, I get surprised how they have a connection with contemporary object from my time. So there are some connections, like whether it's a spoon or plate or like whatever, bucket, whatever, there are connections. So it's quite amazing, like how throughout centuries, since maybe more than last 2000 years, how that coded knowledge shifted from one generation to next generation to next generation, and still that is, somehow that survived. So I get amazed with that. The whole series of painting is like that. In this particular painting, massive piece of human back, and like the objects are connected to that. This is associated with my experience. My childhood. During my childhood time, I spent in a small village in Odisha, and I used to witness how people carry heavy like tools, machineries in their bag. So this is about that. A superimposed drawing of lots of objects and the bag. People used to use their bag as kind of like carrier. Used to carry heavy objects and sometimes dead animals, sometimes farm tools. It's like that. So along with the large format works, I try to do whatever comes to my mind. In a regular basis, I try to do smaller things, like sometimes just scribbling, sometimes small sketches, drawings in my scrapbook, and sometimes these small format works. So I'm quite comfortable with this format because every day I encounter a lot of things and I react towards them, and I don't want to miss anything, any smallest things also. So I try to capture almost everything, and here in this format I try to entertain all my thoughts. Like there is no linear thing, there is no, I simply forget any sort of like orientation or any sort of here in this format I am absolutely free to entertain all sort of thoughts. So here you can see a lot of different things are there. Sometimes very detailed drawing, and sometimes just sketch kind of things, sometimes diagrams, sometimes sketch with text maybe. So it's a kind of like a regular thing. Whenever I get time, I carry a sketchbook in my bag, and in my studio also, in my working table, one corner I always keep large number of papers equipped with everything like ink, graphite, whatever. So here the whole installation, this is a body of work from last 1 year, and then I thought I should make a kind of different narrative, displaying them together. And this particular diagram I have done it here, like centrally, I have written like city in one box, then how a city connects with suburbs, villages. This side, this district headquarters is there, then that is connecting with farmlands, with mines, and with other places. So it's a kind of like map connecting different segments of the society, different spaces. Then again connected to my engineering studies, I have given the scale, like scale is 1 inch is equal to 1 kilometer. So this the whole wall is 25 feet wall, which comes to 300 inches, and so this whole area covers almost like 300 kilometer by 96 kilometer. So kind of like at the center city is there, then city is connecting with village Gram Panchayat office is there, kind of sector space, maybe temple or masjid or some prayer hall, something like that. So then I try to connect with the kind of like narratives I deal with usually. I try to connect with them. So this is the whole thing. I have written some small things like here, soil taken from the nearby farmlands to raise lowlands. This is something like stone chips are carried from the mines from making roads, and there are a lot of blank spaces where I want the viewers to add something from their memory, maybe something from their experience. connection of that, this is paperwork. The title is The Road I have driven some few thousand times in last few years. So this is about, like, I have taken the map from Google. This is my studio, and my surroundings in Santiniketan. So Sriniketan, Santiniketan, all these places. So the whole thing is like, when I look back, when I re-examine maybe 1, 2, 3 years, last few years, I may have traveled some few hundred times on this route, but it's not same. Like every day, maybe the road is same, but the visuals are different. In one hand, some repetition is there, and other hand, every day I encounter with new kind of visuals. So this is about that, the kind of incidents, events, whatever I encounter, and like my locality, my surroundings kind of thing. I am also showing a video with some drawings. So the title of this work is, that is the title of this exhibition actually, like the geometry of ordinary things. So it's a kind of like very ordinary visual. In Bengal, any place you will find, like sweet shops and people work there, like the making of rasagullas actually. But I found it's quite interesting, like how people manually make that, how skilled, what kind of skill they carry. Like it's again, manually they can make rasagullas. Maybe one time they are producing some 3 or 4 rasagullas at a time, and gradually they are just in a random way they are throwing that to the utensil, and how they are forming a kind of like pattern, which is quite interesting, like kind of honeycomb pattern. They are building a kind of interesting shape, like design kind of thing. And here a set of drawings are, I have taken stills from this particular video, then like put numbers. In this then some 112, 13. Like rasagullas are there, then something about the circle, like the way I have learned how to make circles in my school days, which is a kind of like part of the geometry, kind of like knowledge coming from maybe book and from institutions. Here maybe they are not aware of that kind of knowledge, but how they learning from their seniors, how they made that, and kind of like some sort of perfections are also there. Probably I can't make that the way they making the rasagulla. So these are the frames taken from that video, and I try to reconstruct them, kind of like re-examining the whole ordinary act. And at the last frame, it's called the sleeping hand. So kind of like the hand is taking rest, how they use the human hand as a kind of tool, producing some few thousand sweets every day. So it's about that. Here it's part of my documentation, like I have written some, based on that interaction I have written a long text, but I don't want to share the whole thing. So this particular piece is a kind of like a small fragment of the larger text. So I want viewer to include their experiences, memory from, their memory to this, the whole act. In a regular basis, I write something like, this is, another kind of area where I regularly write down whatever things come to my mind, and small sketches also. So probably first time I am exhibiting them together, part of my scrapbook. I try to write down all these thoughts, whatever thoughts come to my mind. I feel they are quite precious, and if I don't record them, maybe next time I forget them and I miss them. So I try to capture all the thoughts, I try to entertain them and try to write them down, sometimes just text and sometimes with diagrams, sketches, drawings, and it's a kind of very close friend to me, a scrapbook. Title of this work is Division of Ancestral Lands. The map is my village map in Odisha, and it's again based on my childhood memory, how right after the massive flood, every 4 years, 5 years, there used to be one massive flood, and right after that, how villagers used to remapping the whole land, because after every massive flood, you can't recognize, it erases the whole map. So it's quite funny, they used to connect some trees or temple or some landmarks, and then they used to remap the whole map. So it was quite fascinating, and also generation after generation, how in next generation how they again divide the land into smaller pieces. It's about that kind of very ancient act, but still in practice. So this is also part of my practice. I try to document all the everything I encounter, all the ordinary things, and I try to make it meaningful. This set of works here, this work is based on a local potter in Santiniketan, who in a regular basis makes terracotta pots in a roadside workshop, and same here a blacksmith from Santiniketan, again from a roadside workshop, how the father and son they make farm tools and other tools from metal. So I found again it's quite interesting, as I was talking about when I visit a museum, when I look at artifacts from past centuries, maybe terracotta from 1st or 2nd century CE. So I found how this particular occupation has survived, the whole knowledge behind it, making a shape, making a kind of pot from the soil, and firing it, and different shapes also, different utensils, the way we use them in present day also. I found it's quite interesting, the whole knowledge system, the whole chain of knowledge, maybe since last few centuries it is there. So I try to document the whole thing. Although I'm not sharing everything here, I try to take photographs, I try to interact with the person, I collect a lot of data, but not necessarily it's a kind of pure documentation. This work is based on that, but I enjoy my artistic freedom also. I want my viewer to again connect with the whole work and add their experiences in the whole thing. I do write poetry, like although in Odia, like, I found it's quite relaxing, like staying away from my homeland, from Odisha, settled in Santiniketan, and I take classes in like Bengali, English. So probably this is the only time when I write, the Odia script, I found it's quite relaxing, and I found it's another way of, expressing yourself. Like I express in a different way when I write poetry. So sometimes I do write in English also. Here, first time I am showing, poetry as a kind of engaging act. Like I have connected the whole script, so it's not very easy reading. Like the way it's projected from the wall, and because of the light, the shadow, the whole thing creates. It is a kind of like puzzle thing. It's not very easy reading, but at the same time you can't ignore. Like if you calmly, follow it, you can get the whole thing. So one is like this one is like erased lines, where I am visiting my homeland after 50 years, and the kind of like situations I am encountering, it's about that. Like after 50 years, right now, when I am visiting my native place, the kind of experiences I am getting, and it's a kind of like comparison between my childhood memories and right now how the place is. And this one is like 𝗏𝗵𝘀's dream. 𝗏𝗵𝘀 is a character from a legendary author, Odia author Sachidananda 𝗏𝗏𝘀. It's from his short story called 𝗏𝗏𝘀, darkness. So the main character, the name of main character is 𝗏𝗵𝘀, who is a farmer, and in the short story he has nicely, it's a kind of like descriptive thing, like it gives you a kind of impression of the life and struggle of a farmer from 1970s. So this man is from my village again, like he is also a farmer, and coincidentally his name is also 𝗏𝗵𝘀. So I found within last 50 years, like if I compare 1970 and 2020s, within these 50 years, the scenario, the situation of a farmer is more or less same. So it's about that. And again, a kind of like very engaging thing. It's not very easy to read the whole thing. Here I have shared both of the points are there, but these installations demands a kind of like engagement, viewers' engagement. I hope you will enjoy the show, and the way I have planned it, quite immersive and engaging. So it's not a kind of like, I haven't made any statement, neither I made a kind of, I am not sharing a kind of definite story. It's an open-ended thing. It's absolutely open to different kind of interpretations. So I hope people will come and enjoy the exhibition. Thank you.